Hail, hail! Celtic here, and what the hell do we care now? I've got to say, the intro always gets me jammed up and ready to go, but I can't watch it. It makes me cringe because it's just too, like, self-absorbed, I suppose. I didn't make it, but we will be. It's in the middle of being revamped up, so we have had some comments. Some of you guys aren't a big fan of the tune. I can get it. But it gets me jammed up, gets me wired, and on a Friday especially, that's the sort of time, especially on a 5 o'clock when we come live to do the weekly catch up. You want to lift the ante a little bit. It's weekend vibes. There's a game at the weekend, and da 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 da. But obviously, we've got a lot of other stuff in the background. And normally, when we come on to do the Friday weekly catch up, we're talking about the things that have happened this week for the most part, because normally when we're dropping videos and content here on the channel, we're maybe analysing the game, talking about a specific topic, that sort of thing. Like tomorrow, for example, at 8 a.m., it will be released on the YouTube channel, the full Europa League opposition analysis breakdown for the upcoming Europa League campaign. If you're on Substack supporting Celtic here on YouTube and all the articles and all the other stuff that we get stuck into over on Substack, that's been on early access. You probably caught that already. But on the weekly catch-up, we can kind of shoot from the hip a little bit more about some of the rumours, reports, other stuff that's been going on. But we almost always, no, I'm going to say we always have a Brendan Rodgers press conference to discuss, either team news, little snippets, reading between the lines. And the press conference for this week, I think has been the anticipation for it has been box office. If they wanted to put it on pay-per-view, they'd have probably sold a fair amount of packages, I dare say. And the punchline to all this, guys, is as we come to talk right now, I was hopeful that it was going to switch on live for us coming on here, but the press conference isn't out yet. I'm just going to hit refresh on this one more time. And I thought, when I seen it was coming out later and later, I thought, oh, that's good, because it's been a while since we've watched one together. We've did that a fair bit on the channel. We've not done that this season as of yet. And I got the headphones ready and everything. But I thought, oh, cool. Maybe it comes out about 5. I'm not ruling out it's not going to come out in the next 15 minutes or something. But you might be able to hear. There's a few things going on at Casa de Quinn today. So the kids got some friends over from school Friday on the console action, as you might be able to hear. And anyway, some of those kids are getting collected at 6 o'clock. So if we do not have a press conference, and I made a wee banner up just in case anyone joins the show late, but if there's no press conference by like 5:30, give or take, then we'll abandon ship on the show at that point, and we'll come back for a part 2. So we'll have we'll make sure we catch the press conference today, because for me it's it's the thing I've been waiting for all week. Really, was to hear something from the club, and now we've heard nothing from the club. Now I listened to the 4-minute snippet that Sky Sports put out on Twitter earlier on. You guys have probably all heard it as well, so feel free to drop thoughts and feelings and everything else in the comment section, because there was some explosive takes. And again, sorry about any background noise. I've got all the filters on the mic that I can possibly get on to drown out the Fortnite playing kids in the background. But that was what I was thinking. Young, was, where is it? Are they worried about it? Because normally by now we've had it. Normally, because I play fantasy football, like professionally, I suppose is probably the best way of putting it. I need the information that comes out of that press conference, and generally they release it around 5 minutes past 3, which is 5 or probably 20 minutes later than what I need it to be live for. So for it still not to be live now at this time, and also they haven't did a public release yet of the new Adidas Terrace Icons merch release that they've done. Now, merch releases are getting slated by Celtic fans everywhere, and I get it. It's super commercial and it's capitalism out the hoo-ha and all that. I get it. But this is probably the nicest gear that they've dropped so far this year. Am I in the right thing? Shop. Yeah. Superstore. I thought I'd put it up on site, but the website's actually got very clumsy navigation. It must be said. Yeah, that's really the main thing the website's meant to do, is make money. That's quite a hard. Yeah, this is too many clicks. Anyway, a story for another day, perhaps. I want to see some of this stuff in the flesh, right? But I really like this gear, to be honest with you. I can see myself into a bit of some of this. This looks like it could be really good. I hope it's warm, but I'm definitely going to check out some of this once the board have appeased us all somehow. Yeah, this looks the part. I really like this thing, this pullover. This looks the part as well. I quite like that. But anyway, they've not spoke about any of this stuff. They've not released the press conference on usual schedule. And as you can see from their anticipated YouTube earnings, according to the plugin that I've got, This would be a big viewer for them. This would be a very good YouTube video for them to release. And it's a shame that they've not done it yet. Sometimes, like, we get access to the press conference and we get the recording and whatever. So, I know, fair, yeah, fair enough, right? Fair. I couldn't help myself, right? Like, I'm a bit of a moth to the light there with some of that. I can't help it, but fair enough. I deserve that. um, what was I going to say there? Sorry. So maybe it comes out on some sort of other Celtic channel. So if it does, feel free to give me a nudge and we'll go and catch that there. Yeah. Sorry about the pattern. Yeah, the website navigation is awful. Because again, like, what is the website to do? It's to make money. It's not to show us pictures of play. Obviously, you want all that stuff, but um, anywho, that's a story for another day. So I would love to get really stuck into the meat and the bones of everything Brendan Rodgers press conference. We did the pre-match analysis with McBride Ace last night. I could maybe go and just pull up the anticipated 11s we've had if you want to maybe talk about that, because we've had some further intel. Celtic here had a bit of a scoop. It's not totally confirmed yet, I'm not sure. But the word on the street is Anthony Ralston's kicking about in a moon boot. Tierney was at training today, which was... I knew that would happen. Which was good news, and I think given the fact that we've not got a game for a week after this game, even with the surface, so we put McBride's team on quickly. Is that the closest? Yeah, he had Donovan in, so we'll just swap Sriracha out for Tierney. Now, I wouldn't rule out Sriracha maybe even starting it right back, by the way. I wouldn't rule that out entirely. I would suspect it's going to be Donovan. The rest of the team kind of throws itself together. McBride fancies Tunecki to come in and start. I can get behind that. I personally, but think it will be Ian Nacho. That will start up front. And I think Maeda or Balikwisha. And if you were to ask me to pick one, I'd say Maeda goes onto the right-hand side. I think that's pretty much the main kind of way it's sitting at the moment. He talks about Brendan. He talks about his mustache. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, now this chat Wolf Tone came out previously when I made the original. So there's a Celtic Trust video on the channel. Thanks to everyone that's joining in live, by the way. There's 120 of you. Check the banner. We're waiting for the press conference to come out. But smash the like button, helps us grow the channel. Really does mean a lot. So thanks to everyone that's watching us live. The magic numbers on the like button that you need to make sure we get to, otherwise we're all screwed. We've got bad luck for the weekend. Is 67 and 88. We've got to ring through both of them when we're on live. And if we can finish the live with over 100, that's always good. But you guys have been smashing it with the likes. Getting past 250 has been on the cards quite often. So love to see the support. Thanks to everyone that does hit the like button. But if you look at the old Celtic Trust video we made, that was some of the chat way back then. And I think back at that point, we had maybe like 40 to 50 million pound in the bank, give or take. And yeah, I seen the big clip. I'm sure there's a few more going around, but I thought, normally I'm in two minds whether to watch the press conference before doing this show, because normally I can summarize and we can chat it over. But we've did plenty where we'll just watch it together and pause it and react as it goes through. So I was kind of up for doing that today. But I think from the clip I've seen, certainly anyone that's still in the, and I on the pitch, as we've broke down on the channel and we've tried to keep it on the pitch in certain videos, of course, as you guys will know, should have been better. Like, there's just no getting away from it. Like, the chances were there. Team wasn't great. Squad management was as good as it could be for all intents and purposes. But yeah, there's still some culpability on the Kairat thing, on the Champions League thing, on the squad and on the manager that are there. Like, because it should have just still went the way it didn't go. But it's if anyone's thinking like, oh, Brendan's this and he's lying, he's a snake, all this other stuff that comes out about him, honestly, like, when you hear him talk about some of the stuff that's in the clips, and hopefully the way this is going to shake out is that Brendan is, one of us that's behind enemy lines on this one. He's fighting our corner. He wants the same things we want. Got no reason to doubt him, like, really. And even if there is like office politics or whatever, like, the guy's got enough money, I mean, like, he can always get another job and get paid another couple of mil on a sign-on bonus in any number of teams. Take your pick. So, like, money motivates one stuff, like, what is his motivation for all this? It's got, and especially coming back to face the music. You know what I mean? Like, what kind of snake or whatever does that? I just don't see it. So we've got the chat box on screen so you can catch all the comments that are coming in. I'll try and grab some of them. I want to see both Balikwisha and Tuneki. I don't think there's any doubt that we see Tuneki. I just don't think it'll be from the start. And that was one of the things I was saying to McBride is I feel you that Tuneki's going to probably make an impact in this game. We're going to see him. We're going to feel it. I think it's from the bench. I think it's from the bench because, like, yeah, if you paint by numbers, you think about the squad, how Brendan might see to manage the game. I'm going to sneeze. Sorry to. There's no way a lot of these guys are going to get 90 minutes or not. Like Iheanacho is featuring. I think we all see that, don't we? And I just don't see him playing 30 minutes. I think he's much more of a 60, 65-minute chance for this one. If he doesn't, you're probably looking at Quinny because of the whole Europa squad registration thing and whatnot. And maybe Maeda's got the jet lag. He's maybe got the air miles in him. But he's played off the back of these games before. We've seen it often enough. And even if he wasn't, Forrest has been rested up over this international break. I wouldn't rule him out entirely from the starting 11. So there's definitely a few kind of situations at play here that could rotate the front three. But no matter what combination of front three you see or you pick, I think all 6 of these guys are going to play. I think Engels is definitely going to play. And then Tierney's not going to get 90. So either way, Sirachi's going to get into this, or Sirachi starts right back, Donovan comes on, and you move Sirachi to left back, something like that, So I say if you paint by numbers, I don't think there's too many. I think obviously in defence and midfield, the combos are quite limited, aren't they? But in attack, I don't think. I think no matter how you cut it, all of them are going to play. I don't think there's any worry of that. Yeah, I get that too, but CCV's played Kilmarnock enough times where he did get rested that one time, but he did play that one game right before his surgery. If you remember, like he played the semi-final, then he played Kelly away, so we wrapped up the title under Ange, and then he went away for the surgery, missed the final and whatnot after it was job done. Now, in terms of the tactical shift that people mention, and I get the cry for it, but see a lot of the stuff that people actually ask for, and I'm not saying specifically Sugarman you, to be honest with you, although I could play the same game with you that I kind of feel I play with myself every time I see people talking about changing the shape or changing the tactics that we've got. Because when you say 4-2-3-1 would suit us, there's huge portions of games where Hatate is up here. And really with them, what do you call this? Like we kind of play that, don't we? Like then there's lots of there's lots of times this shape takes on so many different variations where is McGregor a de facto centre back, So I think the only real tactical shift that would be an actual tactical shift would have to include a second striker, because otherwise you're just talking about different phases of play to what we normally. Because I can show you a bunch of matches and a bunch of sequences in matches where it might be Negren, it might be Hatate, but we look like this, we look like 4-2-3-1 in possession, off the ball, in different games at different moments. So I think if your appetite is for a tactical shake-up, I think it has to be a 2 up top situation. And the domino effect is really wing backs situation and centre backs. I don't think 4-2-3-1 is really much of a shake-up, and even 4-4-2 as well, because there's periods in matches, particularly the bigger games like in Europe and whatnot, where you can see the likes of formerly like O'Reilly and Engels kind of falling into with Maeda normally on the left hand side into like a 4, and then you've got a kind of 4-4-2 shape or a 4-1-1, a 4-4-1-1. Again, different games. These are a bit more fleeting, a bit more fewer and further between. But again, without it, I think without it including a third centre back, a second striker, there's not really any tactical shake-up anyone asks for that is really a material difference. Yeah, see if it's still not out, by the way. Like how can you be hiding for YouTube comments? Like that can't be the case. I've not even listened to McGregor's, and with all due respect, McGregor's not going to answer anything that, and again, maybe I'm wrong. If any of you have heard the McGregor one, let me know. And let me catch up with the chat a wee bit, see what you guys are giving it. We're at 1:15, and as you can maybe hear, and I mentioned before, it's a Friday and it's console time with a bit. My kids got a play date on the go, so if we don't have the press conference by 5:30 because they're getting collected, I need to be here to meet other parents at 6 o'clock. Then we'll come back after that once the press conference is out. This will be a two-part stream. That's why I put the little banner at the bottom. Please do like the show. It goes a long way to supporting the channel and getting the video out there. So maybe we can find some more Jungle Gyms to come and hang out with us in the live chat and give us their thoughts and feelings on all things Celtic, as well as the latest comings and goings that we've got here at the moment. Yeah, that's actually a good point, Carter. It's not really brought up too much in this conversation. And are you actually Cameron Carter Vickers? I wonder. Good to see you, CCV. Make sure you hit subscribe. The pair of them should start, mate. Scales has never been any more nailed in the Celtic team right now. Scales is living his best life right now. He's in one of his best patches of form. Trust he's injured. And all the other stuff we've just mentioned with defence aside, he's the only one that you can keep in the deep end, and he will swim. He will continue to swim. Yeah, there's a wee bit of force majeure that's happened also as well. But I think that's just very true in life. And again, I don't want to get too philosophical with you, but if you leave yourself opening to something wrong screwing you up, something wrong will go wrong and it will screw you up. It might not be the thing you think it is. The Jota one, we've seen that coming. Obviously, he's been injured for ages. And AJ, I think we all expected it to be Tierney. But when both of them played against Falkirk, you just feared that something was, particularly to Tierney, that something was going to happen, because Falkirk, again, we've spoken about that enough on content. If you want to check it out, check out the report card video for that kind of chat. There's clips of Brent. Yeah, there's clips. There's a few of them. I've seen one or two of them. They're fine, but I'd rather do the whole thing. Brendan came out swinging. That's what you want, man. That's what you want. Because that's the way I've always felt, and hopefully I say it's like proof in the pudding, but you want him to be, I see him anyway as one of us on the inside, very much, where he wants the same things we want. He's the guy in the dugout against Bayern Munich and against all these, like the Leipzig win and away to Atalanta. And, imagine being at the coalface of all that and it's working and you can see and the bank balance and the players that you're after. And how can he not be on the same page as us, And I kind of get that as well, right? But again, I tried to mention this somewhere, Karma, so sorry if you've maybe missed this video or whatever, but Maeda, when he peeked through the middle, had Jota and Kuhn on the sides of him, And fair enough, now we've got Balikwisha, Tuneki's now in the building. Maybe you can get back to that a little bit. But I think Iheanacho is probably going to be the way to go. And I don't know if Brendan will say to Balikwisha, get used to right wing, because when Maeda's here or when Jota's back, they're going to play here, or whether Maeda's going to go in January. So Balikwisha, we want you to optimize on the left, and Maeda, you can get back to playing on the right, just like when Jota was better than you, because that's the way it worked last time, isn't it? Yeah, he's always quite open with and again, I said this on Axom, and I like to say things like this on Axom since it's such a big audience and whatever, but Brendan Rodgers will never have job security like he does at Celtic. He will never have the quality of life in every actual aspect of personal, business, everything, playing in matches that really mean something, winning trophies, and having the ability to actually tangibly progress a club into like the modern era of European football. He won't be able to do. There's no other job in the world like Celtic for Brendan Rodgers. And that's the only reason he came back, because he knows that. He knows it. He feels it. And obviously there's atonement to be had for him as well in some regard, and legacy repair, all that stuff. But yeah, I don't get it sometimes when people are, like I said, there is culpability for the results. There's no getting away from that. But the other stuff where people talk about it in terms of like the office politics or the agendas or the mind games and all that, I just don't see him being anything other than just wanting this to be the dream job that it could be. Oh yeah, I'd love that, by the way. I'd love that. And it's funny, right? Because it's very much been a case of he's been slowly turning the dial down on the Ange, like we never stop stuff, because in the first season, he used to, I think he maybe said it 4 or 5 times, I want to be attacking, but I don't want to be flying by the seat of my pants. And then when Ange wasn't doing too good and he was doing good, he was quite smug with some of his philosophy-based comments, Brendan Rodgers. But now he's just went too far turned down, and he needs to get it turned back up again. Just hit a refresh on the YouTube again for the old Celtic, and yeah, still no press conference. I'll check. I'll check our old favourites. Beanie Man. Beanie Man's normally quite good with getting the press conferences on for. He's normally good for getting Celtic ones on and whatever if they're going to be well viewed. Again, from a YouTube perspective, but no, it doesn't seem like he's got it. Again, apologies, guys. You can hear the background noise. Kids, Fortnite or Roblox or whatever it is. Yeah, nothing for Brendan today. From Beanie Man, sadly. Let me catch up with the chat, see what you guys are giving it. Only way to fix the system, yeah, that's kind of that would give you like a really different dynamic in the team, like instantly, because no matter who you're going to put into that position, as we've seen with any occasion that Bernardo's played in there or Engels, is that Scales, Vickers, everyone else doesn't have that same obligation to feed them the ball. And you just need to look at the passing stats, even in games where hyper dominant in possession. Bernardo and Engels, when they're in these positions, just don't get the touches, don't get the pass count that McGregor gets. And that in itself is an automatic win, because if they're not, because these guys are still getting the same amount of passes, we've still got dominant possession. So if they're not playing to this player every time, where are they playing? They're playing here, they're playing there, they're finding other solutions, they're getting up the pitch a bit quicker, they're missing out this zone here and giving it into midfield. And Bernardo, as I've maintained for a long time, and I love to see more Celtic fans coming over to my way of thinking with this, just through, I guess, personal pride on the content, because that's what we always like it to be, is analysis and some sort of forecast element into, what we're seeing in developments that are afoot. But he's the one that's most built to do this type of role, being able to step out from a rest kind of position of a somewhat back three, where you want to throw your full backs into higher positions. You want to give these guys full freedom to, like, if we can just move these guys to the side for a second. Like, if you just look at this, it's like the size of the pitch, essentially. These guys here decide how big the pitch is for Celtic and for the opposition. And if we are, in a tight block like this, as we build out from the back and get up the pitch, it's very slow and methodical. It gives the opposition time to reset and to shape themselves up. But it kicks in when you get them pinned into their own half, and then you can get into this type of shape. But what we struggle with sometimes is when this block isn't as tight. So if we are trying to build out from the back and we're down more like this, we've got one of these guys, let's just say it's Negren, a bit higher, and we're asking the Tate to drop into these pockets. There's just never enough confidence that this guy can make it happen. It's always got to be the bounce pass back and then get you on the half turn. By that time, you've got a man or two around you. And when that block is stretched out, the style of play feels really exposed and very isolated, because our individuals are so far apart, they can get double manned too easily. So yeah, by taking McGregor out of that, these guys can just be a bit more, do you know what? Let me just fire it up to Negren, or let me try and hit Maeda, or whoever else has been out in this position, and maybe take a chance to just skip this little crowd and play it into somewhere else. Because if these guys are getting double marked or they've got pressure coming on them, space is elsewhere. Football's just one of those things. It's when I think in this way with the football pitch and players and whatever, it's like that video. You probably all know it, where it's like this the teacher or the lecturer, and he's got a glass jar and he puts ping pong balls in it, and he says to everyone, "Is the jar full?" They all say yes, and then he pours in like rocks, shakes it around, and he says, "Is it full now?" They all say yes, and he pours sand into it, then he pours water into it, whatever. And the football pitch is like that. It's like the glass jar. There only is the certain amount of space. So if everyone's down here, space has to be somewhere else. And again, the opposition, if you're sucking them into pressing us really deep like that, you need to be able to. And again, Vickers, has he got the range of passing individually to pull that off? Probably not. He's probably feeding AJ, and then AJ's maybe trying something a bit more direct or a bit more ambitious, or trying to play the player running off his markers then at that point. So yeah, I think McGregor coming out kind of gives you an automatic change, because there's just less of an onus, less of an obligation to have him be the centre of the team. I'll just hit number 4 on this. This is my predicted team for the weekend. And I think, yeah, Ralston for Donovan's probably the only thing to correct on that from what we've had in terms of news today. And I say that front line is what I had a minute ago. Chat's flying away, guys. Love to see it. Thanks for all the chat. Calmac Spike spoke like a true supporter today. Oh, good. Well, I'll definitely catch that. I don't know if I'll catch it on stream. I just don't see Bernardo as a front foot player. Personally, I think he's good in tight spaces. I think he thinks quick. I think he does the right thing by the team. I think he puts the team above himself, but I don't. And he has the ability to carve a pass and whatever. Because the way to think about it, right? Let's put Bernardo back in again, right? Let's put Bernardo and McGregor, right? So it would be instead of Negren, just for historical examples, right? So what he's very good at, and can we get an opposition team up here? Let's just go and get Kamarnik. Sorry, guys, again, if you can hear the kids. Now, forget about the players, right? They're all wrong. But if we are like in a kind of middle of the pitch position where we've got some possession and we are trying to work some space or whatever, if you think about Bernardo, McGregor, the right back and the centre back here, it's not quite a box, obviously, because it's 5 players. But this is the way they'll be training for it in terms of controlling the possession. They will get good at playing against 4v4 in this situation. And Carter Vickers is the exit, right? Carter Vickers is like, if they're in possession here, 4 versus 4, trying to work the ball to try and escape up the pitch. If they can't, they need to go backwards. Carter Vickers is the exit route. Okay. What Bernardo's really good at, right, is attacking from this position, right? So Bernardo's really good at knowing the possession little session or whatever. Maybe it's 5, right? Depending on where the pressing's coming from, right? But Bernardo is really good at getting the exit out of this box situation on the front foot. He's really good at knowing as soon as he feels this guy's coming to press him from behind, if he's receiving the ball from any of his teammates in this type of situation, to know I can play a pass. And I don't think Bernardo's got too many blind passes in him. He does need to see quite a lot. But I think in these really tight spaces, when the ball's really hot and moving dead quick, he's actually really good at exiting these tight spaces and finding Hitate running on from another position, or maybe the striker that's popped into space who can then feed a winger that goes on and beyond. So I do think Bernardo has like good passing. I guess you would call this ball progression if you want to use all the kind of nerdy terms or whatever. I do think he's good at that. And he's good at very equally if he can't find the exit out of the possession box into an attack play. Again, he's quite good at even finding this type of pass, which would be on as well, So I do rate him in a lot of ways, but the effect that Bernardo has is like similar to Engels, where I don't think he's really changing a game for you defensively or offensively. Bernardo and Engels for me are very much players that are complementary to the other members of the team, and they're guys that facilitate good play, rather than guys that are going to make the game or grab the game by the scruff of the neck, that sort of thing. Lots of fist bumps and emojis and stuff like that, guys. So thanks for all the kind words. Yeah, it doesn't waste a pass. I'm with you. Like, he's very good, but again, he's not. You're not going to. And again, I know he's done it, right? And I know you'll be able to show me a clip or two and go see he can, right? But he's not the guy that in and around the final third here is lock picking, is really like the playmaker, or is. And again, I've seen him do it a few times. You've seen him do it a few times, but he's not really the guy that gallops with the ball through the pitch. Yes, he done it for that long shot that he hit that Ida ended up scooping up the rebound for. I know, right? But that's not a regular thing in his game. It's very much similar to McGregor, where wherever the possession is, he'll be close to it. And in the same sort of way that we just mentioned there, it's just very good in possession, very good in tight spaces to find someone like Hitate or whoever else has been playing alongside him or in front of him. And if you did want to think about that change of position, Bernardo's a pretty good option. I think Engels is a good one as well, obviously. But I think, they're just too, for lack of a better word, passive. Like, they're not going to make a game, but if you've got a good team, they're a good person to put into it. He's got a very good frame. Very good frame. I would agree with that. Brendan Rodgers should protest the first 12 minutes. That would be funny if he did. And Red Tim, you're very right. It's not a bad squad, especially when you think about like the full condition of it. But you need to remember it's too little, too late. And as you've rightly said there, it's like we know what was behind door number 2. We know the other players we could have signed. We know the players we went for, and we absolutely fumbled. Like Dahlberg was like, we didn't get the paper. We didn't just close the deal, you know. And that's the thing. See, with like the money we've got in the bank, this is the one thing I always maintain: doing the deals that you want to do. See all this, you're waiting for Champions League qualification. That's when you just say to the guy, listen, we'll pay an extra $2,000 a week, and we tell the club there's an extra 800 grand. We're doing the deal today, you know, and that's when money in the bank should work in your favor. As you just make sure you get the deal done that you want, because like we've mentioned before, footballers are not tangible. You know, they're not interchangeable. One is not as good as the other. If you've got someone you really want, really fits the bill, really is profiled the way you want them to be, get the highest order of priority on the list possible every time. Yeah, a lot of you guys think Taneki's going to start, by the way. A lot of you guys think Taneki's going to start. Right, guys, we're at 5:30. I'll do my last little refresh on the Celtic channel, and if the press conference isn't out yet, I'll come back after it's live or 6 o'clock, whatever kind of happens first, I guess, or last. We need the press conference. The earliest I'll be back is 6 o'clock, which is half an hour from now. It's not there yet. And you know it's going to come on as soon as I end the show, guys, don't you? But anyway, guys, wish me luck with dealing with the ruckus here in Casa de Quinn. I'll be back on shortly. If you haven't done so, please hit the like button, subscribe for more. We'll be back tonight, not too long from now. And yeah, hail, hail. I'll see you shortly. One the hoops.